3 was Game Show Week on the Greenhouse Season 2. In the Greenhouse Challenge, players were divided into 2 families competing in Family Feud. And it was Patrick's couch family that came out on top. The 5 players who entered the greenhouse were Clay, Patrick, Johnny, Victoria, and Caitlin in the first ever 5-person greenhouse flower picking ceremony.
I think what we've learned is that I'm a polarizing figure. Love or hate, you might say. So I think we have some that are loyal to me, and as Miranda Priestley said, will follow me wherever I go. But no, I think that there's clearly kind of 2 factions right now, maybe a 3rd faction to come, but I think things are relatively split into 2 factions right now, and the people on the other side of the fence don't want to talk. So,
how are you feeling about your odds with the people that are in the greenhouse currently?
That's a good question. I feel pretty confident with people in the greenhouse, except Patrick. I think Patrick is doing a really good job of playing both alliances, but I'm aware of that. So I think depending on the round or the challenge, I think Patrick's kind of a wild card still, which is a smart game for him to play. But I don't necessarily ever think that I'm like a guaranteed in with Patrick.
At the end of the flower picking ceremony, Patrick was Sunflower, Clay was Rose, Johnny was Tulip, Caitlin had Immunity, and Victoria won 2 seeds. When discussing potential nominations, Victoria said that Gabby was probably the only person who voted outside of the majority in the last banishment ceremony. Clay said that he would be interested in seeing someone like Maddie, who was passively playing the game, get banished this round, while Caitlin said that she wanted to see Laura go home.
Who's that? I want Laura to go out. She didn't vote for me on her team. She immediately eliminated me in the Price is Right game. So I just feel like she doesn't like me, or she, doesn't want me in the game anymore. And so she's a threat to me. That's why. If you had to pick one person.
Whenever Lily talked to her allies, they agreed that they wanted to see one of Maddie, Laura, or Gabby go home. However, Lily was wary that Patrick, someone outside of their major alliance, had the Sunflower. Because Patrick could name 2 nominees, he could easily make a move against their major alliance. Patrick was interested in making such a move, but only wanted to do so if Carlin was on board. He let Carlin know that he wanted to see a move made against the dominating Flytrap Girl alliance. Carlin made clear that she was still uncomfortable working with Laura, and Patrick defended Laura. Clay also defended Laura and wanted to see her stay more than Gabby and Maddie. Laura, Maddie, and Gabby approached Patrick asking him what happened that caused Clay to get banished. Patrick explained that it was Carlin and Brody who were extremely against Clyde during the last vote. Patrick mentioned that he wanted to see Lily put up on the block and even banished this round. However, in order to save face, he was hoping to nominate one of Gabby, Maddie, or Laura so that they could by uproot take themselves off and leave Lily on the block to be banished. Patrick also pulled Brody to the side and asked him about making a move against the Flytrap Girls, specifically Lily. Brody still seemed to be hesitant and wasn't ready to jump on board.
What's going to happen next round? Them 3 are going to be in power, and we're going home.
Exactly. It's coming eventually.
Exactly. So, do you think maybe we buy one more round, and for the daisy chain, we benefit from the fact that we would be in a good spot with that?
Remember, the final 10 is a daisy chain elimination. The player who's banished in 11th place grants one person immunity. The immune player saves another player, who saves another, and so on until one player is left unsaved as the first nominee. That first nominee chooses their opponent to face on the block. Patrick warned Lily that she would probably be nominated for banishment. However, Patrick made sure to say that Maddie was his actual target, and he wanted to see neither of his nominees go home. Liar. Clay warned Laura that the other side was intimidated by her, and he also warned Maddie that Maddie would probably be his nominee because he was trying not to make waves as the Rose. Additionally, Clay said that he wasn't going to nominate Brody because he was a bit afraid to.
God forbid Brody go on the block. That's not allowed. In case y'all didn't know, Brody cannot sit in the nomination chair. Not at all. Not allowed.
Patrick and Clay discussed their nominations. Patrick said that he planned to put up Lily and Gabby. With Gabby on the block, Clay said that he wanted to nominate Maddie because he wasn't interested in putting up Laura if Laura wasn't going to go home. Because he would rather see Gabby go than Laura, Clay would nominate Maddie in order to ensure that Gabby was sent home, without making an enemy in Laura. Whenever Clay explained this to his alliance, Lily, Caitlyn, and Victoria all said that they would rather see Laura go home. Clay compromised by saying he would nominate Laura if Patrick went back on his word and nominated Maddie. His allies weren't very happy with this compromise. At the nomination ceremony, Lily, Gabby, and Maddie were nominated. Gabby initially wasn't interested in buying Uproot because she felt like she would survive against Lily. However, her allies brought up that Lily probably had enough to buy Uproot, so Gabby decided to go for the power.
Both of y'all stayed, but I don't know.
It's better if Lily stays on the block, but that's not gonna happen because they have so many seats. I feel like between that group.
But will Clay, because Clay has the most, so like will Clay give them? There's Clay. Need to get him.
I think he might.
Yeah,
Maybe not. Maybe some.
It might be beneficial to bid for Uproot. I mean, if that's like the worst case, then like case scenario. Yeah.
Right now I'm feeling glad that I'm not up for banishment. I'm really kind of surprised about that, but in a good way. So that's good that I'm not nominated this round. But I'm feeling very sketchy and suspicious of just about everybody. The only person I really feel genuine, like I feel is a genuine person right now is Gabby. Other than that, like it's really hard to tell who is with who and who I can trust. Patrick is an ally, but at the same time, I feel like can go either way. Same thing for Brody. I really don't know how to feel about those people that are in the middle. And then as far as like that alliance with like Lily and Victoria and Caitlyn, I don't like them at all. And I want them to go. I want them to go out of the game. And I don't know why Victoria's still here. That made no sense. And I'm really kind of like salty that Brody and Patrick went with that. Like, why is Clyde not still here? I don't get it. And I'm feeling salty right now, and I don't like how the game is going. I feel like two genuine people are sitting in those chairs when there are other people that are more deserving. So, I don't know.
Clay gave Carlin the 2 seeds he won from eliminating his target Clyde, just as he promised before the last banishment. Carlin warned Caitlyn that Gabby was going for the Uproot. Caitlyn brought up that it probably wasn't a bad thing if Gabby was taken off the block because they had the votes against Maddie. However, Carlin argued back that Maddie was less threatening than Gabby.
I'm wondering what the loyalty is to Maddie, because would we even need to use the Uproot if it just, like, would we even need to bid for it if it came down to Lily and Maddie?
I would say no, but the only issue is that then you have Gabby still in the game and Laura, and they're mad and they're coming.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Is my thing.
You're right.
That's it.
Yeah, you're right.
These Flytrap girls are just like so covered and so safe, and I don't know who I can talk to about trying to break them up because they're just so whatever, and I feel like I'm just walking them to the end, like doing their fucking dirty work, and it's so obnoxious because they just did the Flytrap move, and now all of a sudden they're like untouchable, but they need to fucking go. Like,
Patrick was interrupted from his conspiring against the Flytrap girls by Victoria and Caitlyn, two of the people he was conspiring against. Don't worry, they didn't hear him, but he did agree with their plan to go after Gabby this round. He also pulled Victoria to the side and asked her who she preferred out of Caitlyn, Lily, and Clay, which Victoria did not like. Gabby bid 3 seeds on Uproot, just as expected. Brody asked Johnny about making a move against the Flytrap girls, specifically Lily. Johnny was unwilling to make a move. Instead, Johnny agreed to block Brody's vote to allow him to bank a vote for later, and the two agreed to consider making a move later on. Brody asked Clay how long he planned to stick with the Flytrap girls, Lily, Caitlin, and Victoria. Clay said that he would eventually make that decision whenever the issue came about. Brody wasn't the most happy with this answer either. After seeing Gabby bid on Uproot, Lily began to feel unsafe, and she got a seed from Carlin and Victoria, bringing her to 5 seeds. With those 5 seeds, Lily was able to outbid Gabby and win the Uproot and take herself off the block, leaving Gabby and Maddie as the final nominees for the week. After the auction, Clay made sure to tell Laura that the others were trying to get Laura out, and he said that he did her a solid by keeping her off the block. Laura thanked him for her safety.
And they just automatically get nervous. But like I said at the very beginning, I don't want to base this game off of like, well, you did this on that game. It's like, it's a totally different game, and it doesn't like, it doesn't encompass you as a person. Like, everybody plays games differently. And like, I feel this game, even though it might bite me in the ass at some point, like, I'm trying to be fairly transparent.
Yeah. No, if I ever come into power...
I'm trying to stay true to my word, you know what I mean?
Yes, and I do appreciate that, and trust me, you would not even be anywhere near, like, the list of people that I would want to nominate if I were to ever come into power, and I do recognize that, and I totally appreciate it, because I really thought I was going to be up there.
So here's the tea. I am in this rather precarious position where I have all of my Baton Rouge ladies who we have this sort of unspoken understanding. It's not really an alliance necessarily, but I am using it to my advantage right now because at this point I don't think they're gunning for me. I have their trust. However, I am interested in aligning with people who I don't know from my outside life, and I think that that's a more interesting game to play. But I was not trying to create enemies in Gabby and Laura in the same round, and I just had to talk with Laura, and we're okay for now. I don't know if she's like with me 100%, but you know, I'm just trying to lay as low as I can for as long as I can. I'm okay for this moment, for this round. But girl, this could go south quick. It really could. And the tea is I'm gonna watch out for me. And I'm gonna watch out for as many people as I can around me, but if it's me or somebody I love, bye, bitch.
Johnny went to his original alliance of Lily, Caitlin, and Victoria to discuss banked votes. They realized that since the nominees were made only of people outside their alliance, they would be able to bank their own allies because the outcome of this vote wasn't that crucial. As a result, they would be able to save 2 votes for later when things will get more dicey. Johnny agreed to block Caitlin and Brody's votes. Maddie started campaigning for herself by saying that she was an honest player. She pointed to week 1 whenever she promised Caitlin that she would not nominate Caitlin. She kept her word there, so she would keep her word in the future. Victoria applauded Maddie's speech, saying that she should use those kinds of points moving forward instead of just saying that she was a weaker player. Brody pulled Gabby to the side and told her the truth. The votes would likely land on Gabby.
I don't feel good about where I'm at, which means something has to change, and I have to make a move. The catch is, I haven't had power for 2 rounds at all. I've just been kind of like, oh shit, I could be up, and I've been lucky enough to skate by and not get nominated, and I know I'm safe, so that's great. I need to figure out if Clay is with Johnny and I, or if he's going to side with the girls. He has to make a decision. I think it's stupid on his part to go with the girls, because those 3 are always gonna favor each other over him, no matter how much they talk to him about it, just because they've been around each other the whole game and they've now been grouped together as far as the Flytrap, etc., etc., etc. So I think he needs to be careful, but I do think he's very powerful. And he and I both are doing like little one-on-ones, looking back and forth at each other, so we know what we're talking about here.
Patrick pulled Carlin to the side and asked her where exactly she stood with the Flytrap girls. Carlin explained that Lily, Caitlin, and Victoria had been honest with her throughout the entire game so far, so she was hesitant to turn on them. However, she did recognize that the 3 of them would choose each other over Carlin. They discussed moving forward with an alliance of the 2 of them, Brody, Johnny, and or Clay. Because Gabby was pretty sure she was going home, she told Laura that she planned to grant Laura immunity going into the daisy chain. Patrick told Brody about the pitched alliance he and Carlin had come up with. Brody was into it, and the two agreed to start considering flipping on Lily, Caitlin, and Victoria moving into the daisy chain. Johnny was told about the forming alliance as Johnny banked Brody and Caitlin's votes. Caitlin now had 2 banked votes. Laura kept campaigning for her closest ally, Gabby, but Carlin never really gave Laura a straight answer for some reason.
So right now I would say I'm pretty aligned with like the Venus Flytrap girls and Clay, because they've been really loyal to me throughout. And also they're so powerful, so I don't really want to get on their bad side because they're just like kind of picking people off. But I do have, you know, loyal ties with Patrick, but I have to be wary of him because he is a strong player and I know he's backstabbing. I would like the power to shift and to pick off the Venus Flytrap girls one by one and align myself closer with Brody, Patrick, and Clay. But it's a matter of getting Clay on our side because I know he has a strong alliance with the girls. But I think if we rallied together, we could make it far.
At the banishment ceremony, Gabby was eliminated unanimously, and she granted Laura immunity heading into the daisy chain. Just 10 remain, who will be eliminated next week on The Greenhouse, Season 2.